park on another day. It's not as quiet as it was yesterday, but the weather's a little bit nicer. There's a little bit more noise because people are out doing I don't know what. Alright, what I want to cover today are the types of air masses. We went over air masses a little bit yesterday. I want to kind of focus. An air mass is this really large body of air. It can be hundreds or thousands of miles long, and it moves around the Earth depending on those global wind currents. Remember the wind being pushed toward the north or being pushed back toward the equator. So this air mass moves around the Earth. There's a bunch of them, and it keeps this pretty much same temperature and humidity within it, and as it moves around, it changes the weather of the location that it goes over. Now, the type of air in an air mass depends on a couple things. One, where it formed. If it formed near the equator, it's going to be a tropical air mass, and if it formed near the poles, my north and south pole, it's going to be a polar air mass. And if it formed over land, it's a continental air mass, and if it formed over the water, it's a marine air mass. Today's topic is the 4 types of air masses, and this can all be found in your notes. And you're going to use these air masses to help you track weather and predict what's going on. So let's get started. The first one I want to go over is the Continental Polar air mass. We have the symbol here, a small c and an uppercase P. Continental Polar has cold, stable, dry air because it forms over land, continental, and over the poles. So a continental polar air mass has stable, dry air and pretty stable, cold weather surrounding it. Now, we also have our continental tropical. So this is your continental, the air mass forms over land, but it forms closer to the equator. It's got a little c and an uppercase T, and it's got hot, dry air, but it's got really unstable air near the surface. That means the weather changes pretty quickly when you got continental tropical conditions. Our next one, now we're going to go to the air masses that form over water. We have our Maritime Polar, the little M and the big P. This formed over the water and over the poles. So what this looks like is you've got your more unstable weather. That means the weather changes much more drastically, and that's where you get your storms from. I'm gonna ignore that. And you've got your storms, and it's cool, stormy weather, and that's what you associate with a Maritime Polar. It forms near the poles over water. And then last but not least, you've got your upside down. Okay, we'll bring that over. Maritime Tropical. Think your tropical beaches. You've got storms happening there all the time. We already talked about this. You plan 7 days in Sandals, Jamaica. 3 of those days could be rainy or sunny. You never know. It's part of the fun of being in Sandals, Jamaica. Not a sponsor. Anyway, this air mass forms over the water, and it's this unstable air that's heated near the equator. So you've got your Continental Polar, Continental That's not right. Yeah, Continental Polar, Continental Tropical, Maritime Polar, and Maritime Tropical air masses. Those are our 4 main types of air masses, and those are what should be in your notes. I will see you tomorrow.